story was this woman. This is early on when the school system would allow diffusers into the classroom. I'm not sure, but there was a time there that all the school systems said no diffusers. I guess probably because they couldn't understand it. But the school teacher, she's said normally when the kids came out and come back from recess, they go out and play and they come back. It takes a good half hour before they're calming and settled down enough where I can really start teaching them. She goes, when they go out, I turn on the diffuser, they come back into the classroom, I shut it off, and 5 minutes, we're good to go. They just cut down the time because the kids were all pumped up and the serenity calmed them and relaxed them and settled them back down. So instead of waiting a half hour, she just had to calm them down for 5 minutes in there. And then I had another story here. This one, it was a friend of mine. She would take adoptive children, and she was a foster care, and she had a boy that had been traumatized. He was like 2.5 years old, and had been traumatized and went through a lot of hardship in his family. And so she said that she started using that oil and rubbing it on the bottom of his feet, letting him smell it. And she said it was a black and white difference on how he acted and how he responded. But one time he was getting a little bit anxious, and he goes over to the counter and points up to the counter, and he wasn't really communicative too much, but he pointed up the counter, and she's like, "What do you want?" And pointed up the counter, and she goes, "Oh, you want the Serenity oil?" He's, yeah. And he's like, "Put it on the top of my head," because she'd put a drop on the top of his head and stuff. And she just said it was a miracle because, he'd wake up in the night screaming and just hours long of terror and things like that. And she said, started using the oil. She became his best friend, and the oil became his best friend, and they just loved it. So it's just anything for calming and relaxing. And again, you can put that anywhere, but on the wrists, on the upper chest, under the nose, smelling it, rubbing on the feet, all of that.